guys, I'm back with project number 2 of my ideas and inspiration for using Gelli print papers, and well, this is kind of becoming a month-long series, so I don't know, let's just call it Gelvember? Or what about Nove Printer? Okay, yes, maybe I need to work on that a bit more. But whilst I do, perhaps you would like to catch up on the first video in this series in case you missed it, and I was sharing some quick tips on some simple Gelli printing that you can do, so I've put a link to that in the cards and in the description as well. Now, a few days ago I shared how I used Gelli print papers to turn a sketch into a mixed media collage for project number 1, and I'm back today using one of my Gelli prints to make some botanical art. So to start this project, I'm covering a canvas board with gel medium and making sure that I cover those edges and corners too. Then working really quickly so that that gel doesn't dry, I'm putting a layer of gel on the back of my Gelli print as well. Now I've already chosen which part of the Gelli print I want to use, so I'm just roughly covering the back of that whole area. Then I can just press the gel side of the canvas into the gel side of the print and really press it quite firmly before turning it over and smoothing it down on the other side. Now I want to make sure that the edges and corners are all stuck down as well, so I'm just going around those and firming those down and making sure. It's going to take a little bit of time for this to dry, but you'll want to make sure it is dry before moving on to the next part. For the next part, you could fold the Gelli print over and stick it to the back of the board, but I'm going to trim it down and I want it to be completely flush with the outer edge of the canvas board and nice straight lines, so I'm using a metal ruler and a craft knife to trim my paper. And here is my model for today's botanical sketch, so say hi to Boston, the Boston fern. Before I do any drawing on my canvas mounted Gelli print, I just want to spend a little bit of time sketching the leaves and getting those shapes right with a little help from Boston. Also playing around a little bit with the composition and working out if I want to have just one leaf or more than one leaf. And once I'm happy with my sketch and what I'm going to go and do, I'll then move on to using that Gelli print that I've mounted on the canvas. I'm using a 2B pencil for sketching the frond onto the Gelli print surface. If your Gelli print surface is a lot darker, you might want to think about using a white pencil, but on this surface I should still be able to see those marks, and then at the end, if there's any of these pencil marks still visible, I will be able to erase them off as well. The sketch is down, so the next job is to go around the negative space and fill all that in with acrylic paint. I've mixed up some yellow and some red to make an orange, and I'm going to lighten that orange with some white because I just want a slightly warm tint. If I just put white down it would be quite cold, so I thought I'd just add a little bit of warmth to that background but still keep it quite neutral. So I'm using a wet brush to apply my acrylic paint, and the acrylic paint I'm using is heavy bodied, but I want this background layer to be quite smooth. So by using the wet brush I can make sure that the layer is smooth and smooth out any of the brush marks that you get in the paint. Plus also it thins out the paint just very slightly, so I should be able to see some of that background detail from the Gelli print coming through at the end, even though I'm using titanium white, which is quite opaque. And of course you can always use an acrylic medium to thin out your paint instead, or use a soft body paint or a fluid paint. Thanks everyone who's been letting me know what kind of plates you use. I'm really interested, that's really great fun to hear. It's nice to know who's still making their own plates and who's bought some plates, and it's just fun. And also it's really fun to hear what you're doing with your plates at the moment as well, so let me know what projects you've been up to recently too, because I'd love to hear. And another thank you as well for everyone who gave me an idea for what I should use that collage picture that I did last time in project number 1. Now I have to admit, I still haven't decided how I'm going to use it, and I am toying with the idea of doing something with it digitally, so keep your eye out for that, but also keep your eye out for my next project in this series as well. Okay, we haven't even finished this one, and I'm talking about the next project already. But yep, I've got another project coming out on Sunday, so if you're not one of my subscribers already, then please do subscribe and hit that notification bell so you don't miss it. I've been enjoying sharing these projects with you, so I hope you've been enjoying them as well. And if you have been enjoying the videos, please do like them, and also feel free to share them with other people you think might like them as well. Now I've linked all of the videos in this Gelli print paper series so far in the description, plus I've put in some other resources as well, like a link to my DIY gelatin plate blog post, so it's all in one place and easy for you to find. Now I let that first coat of paint dry, then added a little bit more paint around the leaves just to make them really pop from that background, and I let that dry as well completely before I did any of the pen work. So for the pen detail, I decided to use the Tombow brush pen, and I've mentioned before how this is like one of my favourite pens at the moment. I just love the varied line that you can get from it. You can get really thin lines and lovely thick brush lines as well. It's just really versatile for drawing. It takes a little bit of time to get used to if you're not used to using brush pens, but it's well worth it. And you'll find it in the supplies list in the description below. I wasn't entirely sure how it would work on this particular surface. Acrylic paint can be a little bit glossy, and some ink pens don't like sitting on non-porous surfaces. Where I've watered down the paint a little bit, that shouldn't be so much of a problem, but where I've used the paint neat, that will still have that glossy sheen to it. But in the end I needn't have worried because it seemed to have worked perfectly well. The only thing you'd have to be aware of is that if you do any erasing of any pencil line that's still visible, this might take off the ink as well, so just keep that in mind. You might have to go back over the line if it looks faded after using the eraser. You could of course use a paint pen to do this job, or you could even just paint it on with a brush. I don't know why, I always reach for my pens first, and I've really got to get into the habit of reaching for brushes and painting these sort of details on, so that's something I need to work on some more. So you can still see some of the details on that Gelli plate peeking through those acrylic layers. I'm not sure how much the camera can pick up, but in real life you can see a lot more. And of course you can see all of that Gelli plate detail in the leaves. Don't forget to watch some of my other videos, and here are some suggestions for you. And as I said, I'll be back on Sunday, so I'll see you then. Thanks for watching, bye!